So welcome back to the workshop then. Currently I'm working on a couple of commissions, two very different mandolins. I've got one that's based on my standard mandolin design and a purely acoustic instrument, and another one which is a chambered bodied mandolin, electric mandolin. So what I thought I would do is really just run through the similarities and the differences with you. Right, so starting with the necks then. As you can see, the heads do look very, very similar, but there are subtle differences to the dimensions simply because the clients have specified different types of tuners. However, I've still got my delta shape, which I like, and the reason that I like that is that the strings have a straight, clear run over the nut to the tuner post. Also, of course, the heads have the spliced head neck construction, which I prefer. I think that's a much more superior way of making a neck rather than just cutting it out of one single piece of wood. Doing it this way, you eliminate the chance of any short grain in the head. You can see that I've started carving the volute on both of them. That's a little bit decorative, but again also it gives a nice transition from the neck into the head and just gives a little bit of extra meat around that area there where the nut is. You can also see that I've drilled the holes for the tuner screws even at this stage. All of these tasks are so much easier to do before the neck is actually fixed to the body of the instrument. I always like to laminate my necks. I think that increases the stability of them. So the bulk of these two necks is made from maple. This one, we've got a piece of Indian rosewood running down the middle of that centre splice that will match the back and sides, and this one some walnut with some extra veneer there, just a little bit fancier specification on this one. It's always a good idea if you can, and I think you should find a way of doing it, is when you're gluing the neck together, try to get the annual rings of the wood as vertical as you possibly can. That way the neck is virtually made from quarter sawn wood, and as you will know, quarter sawn cutting gives you the most stable timber. So yeah, this is a good idea. You'll also see that I've got a couple of fillets of maple in both of them. Underneath those fillets are lengths of carbon fibre, which gives extra stiffness to the neck, and obviously it runs from here to just about there. So yeah, I'm very confident in the stability of those necks. So there you can see the rim of the standard mandolin, the acoustic one. Some lovely Indian rosewood. You can see the end graft there, the two end blocks. This one is from spruce, this one from plywood. I always use plywood on these end blocks so that when you screw the tail piece in, there's no chance of this end blocks splitting. The linings are solid maple, and what I do is I bend each piece individually on my hot iron and then laminate it to the sides, and that gives this incredibly rigid rim, which I feel helps improve the volume, the sustain and the overall tone of the instrument. So that's the rim for the as I say, for the standard. And of course the rim, if you like, or the central core for the chambered bodied mandolin is a little bit different. Yes, so this is the equivalent, if you like, to the rim of the standard mandolin. This central core is made from southern yellow pine, and the sides have been laminated onto that central core, and we've got some really nice English walnut. You can see here we've got the end graft. This end graft is wider than the one on the rosewood rim. That's simply so that it will look better with the end pin jack socket that goes in there. And of course, talking of that end pin jack socket, what I've done here is put another piece of plywood in, and that will enable me to cut a thread in that in that plywood. You can see that we've got a channel here for the wires from the pickups. This will be a hollow section under the bridge, and of course our chambers either side. The back here is rebaited, and that will take a couple of plywood panels which will support the back. So yeah, that's the equivalent of the rim. So talking of the back, here is the back, this beautiful piece of English walnut, obviously perfectly book matched, with the sapwood running down the centre there to give a decorative stripe to it. I've got to do a little bit more work on here for the control panel before that can actually be glued on to the rest of the central core part. So here's the back for the standard mandolin, some really beautiful book matched, perfectly quarter sawn Indian rosewood, and that's from the same board as the sides, and of course that now needs to have a central reinforcement strip down there, and then I'll put some cross bracing on before that's glued on to the rim. Right, so for the top of the chambered bodied mandolin, I've got this lovely piece of Sitka, and as you can see it's quite thick, and I've got a fair bit of carving ahead of me before that can possibly be glued on to the rest of the body. And the soundboard for the standard is some red spruce, Adirondack spruce, really stiff, and I don't know if you can hear it, but you get a wonderful metallic tap tone from it. Yeah, I hope you can hear that. So that, in combination with the rosewood, will make a very sweet sounding mandolin. Well, as you can see then, I'm well underway with these two mandolins, but there's still quite a lot of work in front of me, isn't there? So thanks for taking the time to stop by and see what's happening in the workshop. So until next time I see you, you take care, keep yourself safe, and yeah, thanks for taking the time. Cheers.